Up first, we have already on the phone from Detroit. At least that's where he's at right now. Coach of the Las Vegas Aces, former NBA star, two-time NBA champion with the Bad Boys, the Detroit Pistons, back in 89 and 90. Coach Bill Laimbeer, welcome to Outta Line.
Oh, thanks a lot. Good to be on.
So back in Detroit, you were just here a week ago, man. How's everything going? 1 week removed. I mean, how long does it take to get past coming so close to the playoffs after starting 1-7?
Well, this year we weren't expected to make the playoffs, so we had a pretty good run. Unfortunately, got a bit short. So we're really excited about next year. We think we got a top 4 draft pick, and we're the youngest team in the league. So we're more focused on the future than the present.
Coach, tell me something. With this team, you started 1-7. When did it click? I mean, someone like A'ja Wilson, obviously turning out to be one of the best players in the league, I think, in a couple of years. As Tim said at the last game I was at with you, that they were going to. She'll eventually be the best player in the WNBA. When did it click?
Well, I told everybody that we wouldn't know who we were until July because we had some players miss training camp with overseas commitments. We had an injury. We had a bunch of nucleus, and I'm a new coach, so I figured around July, and that's when it really happened for us. Everybody kind of understood what their roles were, and we started to win some basketball games.
Next season, you said you're looking forward to that. You pick up where you left off this year, and what are you expecting to add? What do you expect to be that much different?
Well, we got the lotteries on Tuesday, and, we get the second most ping pong balls, so hopefully we get a really good player. We're guaranteed at least a top 4, so that's a big positive. I have a couple log jams I'm going to have to clear with some trades at a couple positions during the off season, and Las Vegas is a great place for free agents, so I think we're lining up. All the stars are aligning for us to have a really good opportunity going forward.
Coach, we know you're back home. What's the off season like for you? Do you get any downtime?
Well, I'm not really back home. I'm kind of in transit. I got a place in northern Michigan that a farm we enjoy. So, I'm back and forth to Las Vegas. I am the president also, so I have a lot of work to do right now. We're doing budgets and things like that. So I'm going to spend a lot of time in Las Vegas during the off season.
Coach, initially, when you went to the Detroit Shock back in the early part of this century, what was the decision? I mean, to talk you into coming into the WNBA, what made you make that decision? And really, I mean, it helped rejuvenate the league, what you did with the Shock.
Well, the Detroit had a franchise then, the Detroit Shock, and they weren't doing very well. And I wanted to get into the front office part of the business to understand, what that was about, because we are a small microcosm of the NBA. So their team started off so poorly, and I told them they had to make a coaching change, and they said, okay, well, you're it. And I said, oh, wow, okay. So I did it, and it's been a great ride, and I've had a lot of fun.
Are there aspirations to coach in the NBA?
I used to way back when. I thought I wanted to see how my style would play out in the NBA, but, I'm 61 now, and the WNBA is not as big a grind as the NBA. NBA pays more, obviously, but I really enjoy doing what I'm doing, and it works for me.
I know your main concern is the Las Vegas Aces. Do you have your eye on the playoffs, Coach? And you saw what Taurasi did in that first-round game?
Yeah, I watch most of the games, just to see, how teams are growing or how, are falling off like Minnesota and Los Angeles did this year. But, overall, I wish we were there, but it's not our time right now. So hopefully our players are watching to understand how intense it gets, and our time is coming.
Coach, best memory right now of the WNBA? Obviously, you won 3 championships there. A lot has gone on since you joined this league back in 2002. Took a little hiatus from 2009 for a few years, but what's your best memory?
Well, I think just the growth of the league and the players. The players probably more than the league. The players today are unbelievable. They're bigger, faster, stronger than any time before. They're smarter. They're dedicated basketball professional athletes. They're really good, and they're getting better every year. The players coming in, so I think it's been so much fun to be around just to see the growth of the league over the past 15, 18 years. It's been a lot of fun.
Many of the press conferences you spoke about how the Las Vegas crowd came together with the team this season. Has Bill Laimbeer actually gotten to go out and experience Las Vegas from just to have some time off and hang out in the city?
No, not really. I signed up in November, and we had to build this franchise from scratch, and get everything organized for for the season in such a short period of time. And then this year the season was condensed by 21 days because of the World Championships are in September. So it's been very hectic, and I really haven't had a chance to get out. I've only played one round of golf in Las Vegas. But I think in this off season, I'm going to get out and experience some of the stuff and play more rounds of golf.
Coach, one of the things with the WNBA this year, obviously big news, the game that you guys missed, or I should say got canceled because of commercial flights and some timing with the planes. One of the issues, and it created an issue with revenue in the WNBA, something that's been heavily talked about, especially towards the end of the season. I was saying to Tim at the game, wondering, as far as sponsorship goes, it seems like most of the WNBA sponsors are the same sponsors that the NBA has. And of course, they're going to give 1/10 of the revenue to the WNBA that they do to the NBA. Why wouldn't the WNBA, and maybe they are, go after more for lack of a better term, gender type of sponsorships that would appeal to women? I think you get maybe huge money out of them. It doesn't seem like anyone ever goes after those.
Well, they are. They don't misread this. They're working very hard on sponsorships and getting people to come to games. We're still a very infant league. We're 22 years in, but that's a very short period of time. Look at the men at 22, and they were nothing. So we're growing. It's going to take time. Obviously, the men have more revenue. They play more games. They have bigger arenas and bigger sponsorship dollars. So you can't really equate the two at this point in time, and probably never will. But I think our league is growing every day, and it's successful now. It's going to be even more successful as time goes by.
Well, no women's professional I should say league had lasted a decade, let alone 22 seasons. It's been pretty incredible. Tremendous resiliency that the league has showed, and I think we're going to see that continue. How big do you think it's going to be for the WNBA to have the All-Star game here next year?
I think it's going to be huge, not only for for our fans in Las Vegas to experience that, but I think it's time for our league to put on a show. The men do a really nice job of their All-Star weekend, and I think Las Vegas is a perfect spot for us to expand our format. And I think it's a destination place, and I think a lot of the WNBA fans and the season ticket holders from all the cities are going to migrate there, just like it was a Final Four situation.
A'ja Wilson, we talked about her for a minute, though, morphing into one of the best players in the league. Watching her play and her dominance and her ability to take over a game is pretty incredible. What makes her so special, and do you see her eventually maybe being the face of the WNBA?
Well, and what makes her special athletic-wise is she's very quick. I've never seen a big, men or women, be able to attack off the dribble like she can. She's tall and long and shoots from a very high spot, so you can't block her shot. But I think what really makes her special is her consistency. The hallmark of a great professional basketball player is every night you know what to count on, and every night she produces, and you know you're going to be able to count on her for 20 points and 10 rebounds every night.
Talking to Bill Laimbeer, coach of the WNBA Las Vegas Aces, former two-time NBA champion, several years in the NBA, mostly with the Detroit Pistons. Coach, reflecting back on that, WNBA being from Detroit, I got to experience the melee that was the Bad Boys, the back-to-back champions. When you reflect back on that and the build-up to get to that point, I thought you should have won 3 in a row if Isaiah doesn't hurt his ankle in Game 6 against the LA Lakers. I think you guys maybe take 3. What is your best memory looking back on all that, and how much did that help you today to coach in the WNBA?
Well, I think the best memories is we actually won 2, obviously, but if you play that hard and you put all that energy and your mental and physical well-being on the line, if you go away without a championship, it's just so long-term and lifelong disappointing. So, yeah, we happened to win 1, was relief. We won a couple, was unbelievable. But I think it did help. I can explain to the players I have today how to grow into this thing. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And you grow as a unit. You learn about each other and the coach and your fan base, and you all grow together.
You know, real quickly with the Detroit Pistons of that era, one of the things I talk to people about all the time is how exciting that group of guys were and how special you and talented you were. Starting with, I think, the guy in the backcourt, Isaiah Thomas. And when people talk about, you know, guys in the NBA that really helped revolutionize the game, sometimes his name gets left out, and it drives me crazy. How special and talented was Isaiah Thomas on the basketball court?
He was unbelievable. He was a leader. He was a visionary, and he still is very visionary in many ways. But he did a lot of stuff, not only for our basketball team, but also for the NBA as time went along. So he's just, you know, he's one of those that will never get the credit he deserves, especially being the small guard that he was and took the pounding that he did. But nobody could ever take away his championships. Well,
I think also, Coach, and I'll say this, but I don't think you ever got fully the credit you deserve either. You were known as a guy that pushed other guys around, intimidated, but I think Isaiah Thomas said it best a long time ago. He goes, what aggravated the other guys the most wasn't his physicality, it was the fact that he was damn good. And as high a percentage of an outside shooter for a big man there was, the free throws every year was up close to 90%. Pretty incredible for a big guy, but one of the things was your intensity and your fire. How much of that has mellowed over time? Because I got a small story to share with you before I let you go, but I just want to know, in your opinion, how much has that mellowed over time?
Well, you're never as intense as you are as a player. That's just a given. You know, when I was as a coach, I was more intense probably, 12, 14 years ago than I am today, but I use more of my experience and knowledge to teach them, because at the end of the day, coaches don't play the game.
They don't. Okay, I got to tell you this story. So back in, I think it was the second to last year of your career before you left, I think, and was it 84, 85 when you retired?
I left in
94. Excuse me, 93. So this was the 92 season. You played the Indiana Pacers. I think you didn't have a great game. You went like 1 of 10 from the field. I was a brand new young reporter, and you went into the locker room and you said you didn't want to talk to any of us. So we were all kind of a little bit intimidated, and you were standing by your locker talking to Al Ackerman. Remember Al Ackerman?
Yes, I do.
And I was talking to Fred McLeod, the play-by-play guy way back then. It was Past Sports, and like I said, it was a young guy. I had a brand new microphone, and I was kind of pointing it in your direction, but I wasn't recording you. And you got really upset with me. Matter of fact, you stood up, you started yelling at me, and you were kind of eating the chicken wings that they would put in the Palace locker room with people after the game. They'd put these little trays of hors d'oeuvres like chicken wings, ribs. You remember that? It was pretty good stuff. I didn't get to eat any, but I was always jealous that you guys got to.
Like I would remember that long ago for some minor incident.
Well, hey, this was a huge incident for me. I was a young guy, but you stood up, you yelled at me, and you were spitting chicken wings all over my face and my shirt. Do you remember the incident at all?
No, if I don't, but it's a good growing experience for yourself.
It really was. Scared the living hell out of me, Bill. You got a 7-foot guy screaming at you, but I wasn't recording you. I did show you that I wasn't really recording you. But anyways, listen, really a pleasure to have you on the show. Look forward to what goes on in the WNBA in the future. I hope they get some more sponsors, and I really hope you guys are flying privately rather than commercially in the near future.
All right, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coach Bill Laimbeer, Las Vegas Aces.